This is the first small group discussion with J. Krishnamurti in Ojai, California, 1972.
We've got 4 days, 4 mornings to talk over things together. And I wonder what we should talk about. And to what depth do we want to go into these things? Or do we want just to superficially argue, verbalize, and put into words what we want to discuss casually, or do we, during these 4 mornings, in talking over together, which I would personally like, go very, very deeply into things. So what shall we talk over this morning together? Bearing in mind what we said, what in the notice was said, which was education and religious life. So how do we discuss this?
I'm interested in understanding the meaning of learning very deeply.
Shall we discuss that? Learning? Are we going to learn from each other? Learn, the verb to me, meaning to learn. Learn a language. Learn through action. Learn through hearing, experience. Learn through various forms of influences. And so there is an accumulation of knowledge from which to act. That's generally what's implied in learning, doesn't it? I learn a language and then able to speak, to communicate. Is that learning at all? Because if we could go into this little bit, perhaps we could then get at much more deeper issue. What places knowledge, experience, memory, and freedom, which is from the known, which is knowledge, experience, memory, and where is there a freedom from the known, and is that all possible, and so on. Can we discuss this? Do you want to discuss this thing or something totally different?
I'm interested in that, but I also want to know, I'm interested in my question for myself, what is the purpose and function of a school?
Of a school?
Yes.
Are we discussing a school? We haven't come to that point yet, have we? We haven't got right kind of teachers, or shall we come to that a little later?
It's something that I'd be interested in, the steps towards learning the religious life, as you've phrased that question.
Learning to lead a religious life.
Can that be learned?
No, that's just it. That's why I think we ought to be clear, if we may, what do we mean by learning? Is it a matter of accumulation of ideas, according to which we shall act, which we call religious? Conclusions which traditionally be handed down and therefore leading a life according to those traditions and call it a religious life? Or is a religious life entirely different from all this learning, accumulation, knowledge? So come, let's discuss it.
What is the place of technology in supporting?
That's why we ought to go into this little more. What place has knowledge, which is technology, and so on and so on. And if knowledge is a continuous thing, then there is never a freedom from the past, because the past is knowledge. Do you want to go into all this? Is this serious enough for you? Or is that not too serious? I don't know. I think it would be good if we could discuss this really to the very end of it, go into it very, very deeply this morning. This one thing, you understand, son? Capture it. What do we mean by knowledge? The knowing. Not only the person, knowing a trade, knowing literature, many languages, knowing another, knowing oneself, knowing God, in quotes. What do we mean by that word, knowing?
Memory?
People?
Memory?
I discuss it with me, please. I'm not just. Let's go into this together, not just me. I don't want to end up talking, please. You understand? I think this is an important question, because if we are going to function and operate and act from this constant knowledge, which is the past, then there is nothing new. There is only the past modified, changed a little bit, and the future is the past modified. So if we could go into this, please, come on, Sir.
Well, can you just say that, instead of saying that the past is modified, you could say that the present is ever changing?
The present is the past, isn't it? Is there a present without the past?
Well, then why do you even talk about the past?
The past implies the present and the future. The whole, those three are not separate. And if I had no past, would there be present now? And would there be a future?
Well, the thing that I was sort of insinuating, that there is no future, that there is no past, there's just a continuous motion.
Continuous motion of what?
Of events.
Which leave a mark.
But
which leave a scar, which leave a memory, which says don't do this, do that.
Yeah, but that scar is operational in the present. It's not operational in a past. if something,
So, look, I have done something in the past. Doesn't that operate in the present?
yes, it operates in the present, but why do you talk about it in the past?
No, the past modifies the present, right? Which modifies the future. It is one movement.
It seems like a process that just is occurring. You called it a scar. It's a scar, the fact that we remember things or it leaves a mark. But it seems like a process is something that just occurs. Need it be a scar?
I use the word scar as a memory, as a knowledge, whatever you like to call it. So, look, what is actually the past, the present, and the future? What is it? What is the past? Let's go into a little bit, sir. What is the past?
Accumulation of memories and facts.
What is your past, sir? I'm not saying verbalize it, not a confessional or anything of the kind. What is the past? What is my past? Born Hindu, a Brahmin, born, educated, and so on, so on, so on, so on. And building up, if you so desire, reputation, a residual mounting action or residual non-action. So somebody's out there. Somebody's out there trying to get in.
Excuse me, can the past exist without the present?
Can the past exist without the present? How can it? Can the past exist without the present? Can I? So take myself. My past is my conditioning. If you're not fed up with that word, is my conditioning, my experiences, the residual inherited conditioned behavior, all my conditioning is the past which operates in the present, which is the present. Let's put it that way. Consciously or unconsciously. A Catholic, brought up in a Catholic family, with all his dogmas, beliefs, and so on. I mean, that's his past. And that past is the present.
But it seems like the present and the past are on different dimensions. They are qualitatively different.
Are they?
It seems like the past, as you're using it, is the component parts of the present.
What is the present? So, all right, let's take that. Let's look at that. What is the present?
This room, our responses to you.
The present. What does that word mean, the present?
It means some sort of movement, amorphous movement.
Amorphous movement. The present.
The present is that which is present.
Wait one, sir.
The present is that which is present.
The present is that which is
Or
present.
put it another way, the moment of the present is the moment in which that which is present to consciousness.
Present.
How about the space between the past and the future?
The present, sir. Wait a minute, look at it. What is the present? What is the present? Go, say, let's look at it, sir. When you say the present, what does that mean?
As soon as you say it, it's past.
Wait one, sir.
As soon as you say it, it's past.
Yes. The present.
So it's an instantaneous.
The second, this very second,
As soon as you say
is
it,
already gone.
As soon as you begin to reflect upon it, it becomes something of the mind.
Yes, so we are saying there is a state of, the present is not the product of thought or rational, or it cannot be rationalized, it cannot be put into words.
Or you can say that the present cannot, you cannot intellectualize.
Yes, the present cannot be intellectualized. Then what is that state of mind, go into a little more, which cannot be verbalized?
Curiosity.
Sentience.
Curiosity.
Oh, no.
Sentience. The non-perceived experience. Sentience. Experience. Experience without interpretation from the symbols of the mind.
Then what is it that remembers the experience? Or there is no such thing as experiencing at all, only a movement.
Or the other of what we're talking about as a past is a creation of our minds. It's an interpretation of the present, but it's artificial.
So I would, please, what do you mean by the present? It's a state of mind which cannot be verbalized, you are saying, right?
Or it cannot be perceived, it can only be experienced.
Then who is the experiencer? And who says, I recognize this is the present?
Well, you can't say that you're recognizing it as a present, because as soon as you do that, you're slipping back into...
Therefore, that's just it. So what is the past? Leave the present for the moment. Then what is the past?
It's merely a reflection upon present events, or it's a creation of symbols operative within one's mind. Or you can say it's a content and organization of those symbols.
The content of the symbols is the past.
And also the way it's organized.
Organized and so on is the past, which affects your thinking in the present. Just take non-thinking. We're not discussing the quality of mind that's non-thinking, but the actual mind that thinks.
That mind lives in the past, but not...
That's what we are talking about. Not some other quality. First, let's understand that mind, which functions with the past, lives in the past, and operates from the past. Then perhaps we can come to something which is not the past or the future. Right, sir? Sorry. Because otherwise we get lost in words.
Could you say that the past is knowledge and the present is learning? Because the knowledge, the word knowledge, it seems to me implies a confidence of whatever area it might cover. But the present is an uncertain fumbling or an assimilation of experiences, so that it's not confident. Learning is never confident. It's a new, untried, experimental kind of thing.
You're saying the past is confident?
Well, no, I'm saying that the past contains knowledge because it includes an area that you're familiar with. whereas the present includes an area that you are perhaps both familiar
But
also
can
unfamiliar.
I separate the past from the present?
No. And yes.
But
No,
isn't that
please,
the point?
let's
Aren't
be-
these just arbitrary words that are semantically used for the convenience of communication? That in fact, the moment you talk of the present, you're talking of the past.
Of the past.
And the moment you talk of the present, you're also talking of the future.
Yes.
So they are semantical devices just for a convenience in communicating. But if you define them, they lose their meaning.
But
To me, there's a distinction of sort of an immediate point, a past, present, future that all operate both scientifically and practically within the same instant. But when you start moving away, like a year ago or a year in the future, then the terms take on a certain amount of meaning.
yes.
Because, like in the past, a year in the past, the events become interpretable to the mind, and therefore can become knowledge. Like you were saying something about confidence, or at least belief in knowing what went before. Just as when I speak, what I say does not get to you until the future. So within a very close confines, the words don't have meaning. But when you open it up, I think they start having more.
I think the point that I was trying to make was that the present is not within the realm of language, while the past is the part of the intellect.
Yes. No, but all my life I live in the past. I go to the village, I know how to get there. I know my name. I know I've had great many experiences which guide me, which shape me, which make me think this way or that way. I'm always operating with the known or within the field of the known. That's all. I mean, this is. So, how am I to change that past which so conditions my thinking and action so that there is a different kind of action which is not rooted in the past?
Seems like there's a great deal of fear when one tries to do this. And this prevents people from letting go of the past and flowing with now.
Why am I frightened of the past? Why is one frightened of the past?
She said one is frightened of losing the past.
Or losing? Why? What is, you see, we are this.
Because it gives us a sense of security.
So, look, take yourself. Sorry. Are you frightened of the past?
No.
Don't let's discuss verbally,
Right.
casually. Are you frightened of the past?
No.
No, be careful. I'm going to a little slowly. don't say right away no.
Yes, sometimes, because your mind goes back to the past, and if it was painful, you don't want to have it happen again. So you're caught.
I am afraid of the future.
No, wait, sir. First take, are you frightened of the past? Frightened of letting go the known, letting go your experiences, your symbols, your ideas, your concepts, your images? Are you afraid to let go?
Well, this is why death frightens us.
Huh?
This is why death is frightening, because it means letting go of this.
What is frightening?
Death.
Death. Are you frightened of death?
Yeah.
Huh?
I think so.
Wow. Why are you frightened of death?
Well, I think perhaps the fear of letting go of...
So what do you mean letting go? Who is it that is letting go?
The I.
Oh no, but don't so quickly say. Go into it a little more, please. I'm frightened of the past. What am I frightened of? The things which I have done, which I don't want repeated. The illnesses, the pain, the sorrow, the anxiety, all that is there, and I don't want to repeat it. My attachment to this house, my wife, and so on, so on, so on. Is that what I'm frightened of?
Well, there's that, and there's more too. There's the knowledge that I have that will get me home from here, for instance. How to do things that I have learned.
But that knowledge may be meaningless. It may not have any import to
Well,
you.
yes, I mean, we are discussing, we are trying to find out why I'm frightened of the past. One is frightened of the past.
Isn't one of the reasons I would be frightened of the past is that I've been such a damned fool in the past. And unless I can break the path that leads me back to being a damned fool, then I'll be a damned fool in the future.
So what do I do then? Why should I be frightened of it?
Well, we have to make it over again, I guess. Break the icons that live in the past. I think the past is more future than it is past. It's not simply a semantic division, but that we live in the past, which means that it's always in the future for us.
Yes, I live in the past and I am afraid of what might happen tomorrow. So the tomorrow is much more important than the past. Is that it?
Yeah.
The tomorrow being the death.
Repetition of painful experience.
What?
A repetition of painful experiences from the past.
Yes, that's what he's saying. Repetition of painful experiences and the non-repetition of pleasurable experiences. But you must have both, you can't just have.
I think we're afraid of the past when we are dependent on it and we sense that it limits our freedom.
So you're saying any dependency breeds fear?
I think so.
We must go into this, not I think so or believe so, but actually, do you depend on anybody or any idea, any conclusion? Of which you are afraid to let go?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. And at the same time realize it limits me.
Wait, madam, slowly, go slowly. One is frightened of letting go because I depend. What do you depend on? You don't have to tell me. What do you depend on? Your husband, your children, your house, your bank account, your ideas, your concepts, your conclusions? Do you depend on those? And you're afraid to let those go? Right? You say yes. Now, just go slowly. Then you are different from the thing upon which you depend. Isn't it? Huh?
Yes, I see.
But are you different from the things you depend upon? Aren't you the things that you depend upon?
Thank you. I see.
So, just look. The division between the things I depend upon and the me that depends upon.
Yes.
This division is the cause of fear.
Yes.
No, please, not yes. Just see.
I see.
See the truth of it. Bite it. So I've learned something. I see something actually. That division breeds fear.
suppose they're in harmony. There's some people where the garments or the things and them are in some
I am
sort of
harmonious with this phone, with this piano.
Some people could probably conjure that.
Not some people. Are you harmonious with this piano? I may be harmonious with nature. But in that there is no challenge. I accept it's beautiful, it is lovely, it's nice. But are you harmonious with your friend?
Yeah.
No. And this disharmony does breed fear. So I am frightened of death, that is of tomorrow or 10 years later, because I like the present. I like living in the field of the known, and I don't want to enter into the field of the unknown, which is death.
Seems to me that what we're really afraid of is not being able to predict continuance of events as they're going.
You're not able to preserve the past.
Or be able to make sure that it's going
Yes,
to be.
yes, that's it. Is that our problem?
I think my problem is not knowing whether I know enough to ever let it go.
Must I know enough to let go?
It seems like this is my problem.
No, sir, it is not I think we are stating the problem wrongly, if I may suggest. What's the problem, sir?
I have an insatiable greed for knowledge.
Of what kind of knowledge?
Every kind.
Technology.
Technology.
I have 70 years, and I can't learn about everything in that period. Can I? Be a philosopher, guru, if you wanted, teacher, scientist. You follow? It's impossible. Know all the languages on the earth. Know all the birds.
At what point do I give up and say,
No. See what you are stating. I must know. I must have complete knowledge about everything.
I realize that's an impossibility.
Therefore, what do you mean then? Come little
What
here.
I mean is, where do I stop and say that I do know enough?
Why do you? What do you?
Where are the limits of knowledge?
No. What do you mean by knowing? The world, external world, which is so vast, the fishes and the moon. You follow?
No, I think I must.
Not much. Just. Can I know myself completely? That's all the question. Not the universe and the cosmos and what lies on the moon.
That seems to be curiosity.
No. Is that the
Searching.
question, sir? Can I know myself completely?
Is that the same question as knowing enough?
No. When you say I know enough, it means you have accumulated. Huh? Now I know enough, thank God.
Can knowing yourself completely mean removing the symbols and the constructs?
I don't know what it means. We're going to go. If you want.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir, this same.
Yes. Why do some people place so much value on learning?
I don't know what they mean by learning. Look, sir, I want, living in this world, I want to live and change, bring about a different, you follow, in the world and in myself.
What I mean by learning is acquiring knowledge. I don't understand why people place such a high value on that.
After all, if I have to do a job properly, I must learn about that job.
Well, the reason I ask the question is that what interests me right now is, I guess, discovering what I am, who I am, and none of the information that I've acquired, that I call knowledge, has helped me at all.
No. So
I wonder why it's important.
Let's begin, sir. Can I know myself? Can I learn about myself? Can I have enough, not enough, can I have total knowledge of myself?
Well, the times when I've felt that, I didn't feel it was knowledge, but something that I simply saw, not really learned.
Yeah.
It was more direct than the feeling I have when I think of knowing something.
Yes, that's right. Now, can I explore into myself so completely that there is no dark corner in myself? Because the dark corner may be the whole region that produces conflict. You follow, sir? So can I expose myself to myself completely? Put it any word you like.
I've got a question as to, for me, it seems it's not possible to know oneself completely. I'm just talking
Wait,
to
sir,
myself.
I don't, please put that question first and let's find out if you're sufficiently interested in it to go into it thoroughly. Don't say it's not possible, it is possible.
For me.
How do you know?
I've been experimenting for 45 years.
Oh, you may be experimenting wrongly.
Yeah.
I'm not criticizing.
I understand. I'm not taking it personally.
Yes,
It seems to me, first of all, we have to get rid of this static idea, this idea that our mind is a static entity that can be built up and torn down. Because as long as we're looking at it like that, something to be built, something to be reached, then we'll never, we'll just be looking at something, extending it.
Yes, sir. But you see, let's begin. Do I want to learn? Do I want to expose myself completely so that I understand? You follow? Do you want to, yes, sir?
Could you explain the question a little more clearly? Because I'm really not sure I understand the question, can I know myself?
He started, sir, by saying, I want to learn about everything, and that's impossible. Perhaps I can learn, quote, about myself. Partially, superficially, deeply, or completely.
But what is the myself that we're discussing? Is it my thoughts?
We're going to find out.
I'm not sure.
We are going to learn. We are going to expose. Is that what you want to discuss?
Yeah.
Right? And you want to go very, very deeply into it?
Totally.
Good. Put your teeth into it. Right. I want to learn about myself. I want to expose myself. I want to see what I am. I want to see what takes over. Now, how do I find out? I want to see what I am. Not only at the conscious level, deep down. Now, how do I set about it?
Maybe a good way to start is to begin to divorce yourself from your past experiences.
Can I?
Sure.
Can I?
Why? What I think is just to observe yourself as you behave, what it is that you're actually
Just
doing.
let's go slowly into this. Look, I want to find out about myself, right? Now, how do I set about it? Tell me, I know nothing, right? Don't tell me I must divorce myself, I must do this, I must do that. I know nothing. Because I don't want to repeat what other people have said. What analysts, psychologists, out all that. I don't know a thing about myself.
That is very difficult to do.
But that's the first thing, isn't it?
Yes, but it is difficult to do.
No, it's not difficult. Because if I look at myself through the eyes of the analyst, I'm not looking at myself, I'm looking through his eyes, right? So that is the fact. Therefore, that doesn't touch me anymore, right? It's not difficult. No, then we won't go further. We'll stop there and tackle this question. Go into it.
A thing which somebody might be able to do, you might be able to realize that the self in which he's operative, or what he's involved in, might be very different than maybe the nature out there. He may ask the question, why is the self that he's acting in so different from that of nature?
Yes, sir, but I know nothing, I'm just beginning. You're all stating things, I'm just beginning. I say, look, I know nothing about myself. I am not going to repeat or look through the eyes of anybody else. Right? That's all my first step.
It seems that as you're moving through and relating with things, that you not analyze or figure out what you're doing, but just watch yourself as you're behaving. Watch what responses come.
I'm going to learn. I'm going to find out. Watch. Now, what do you mean I'm going to watch myself? Now, what do you mean by watching yourself? Please go slowly, sir. I hate this speed because you miss so much. Watch myself. What does that mean? Who is the watcher? I have to settle these things before I watch myself.
There isn't a watcher. There isn't somebody that recognizes what you did at the last moment. There's an awareness of, as you're behaving, what things are coming out.
I want to see what I am. Therefore, I have no authority, right? Are you sure of that? I have no authority, you understand? Because I haven't read a book. I don't want to read a book. I want to find out.
What if you've read a book?
Wait. If I have read a book, I know its place. I leave it there on the bookshelf. It doesn't touch me. Because I have to find out about myself, not...
But if your present is made up of your past...
No, wait, I'm coming to that. I first see what is implied in this thing. So can I be free to look at myself with eyes that are clear and not darkened or corrupted by others, past or the present? Can I?
No. Not at the first step, you can't.
Wait, go slowly, sir. Don't assert anything, please. So can I put aside what other people have told me about myself? If I can't, that is the first problem. You follow, sir? Not I must know myself is the first problem. Why is it that I cannot put aside what other people have said about myself?
Well, there's the conditioning, the aspect of conditioning.
Wait, slowly. What? So, I see that to know about myself, I mustn't look through the eyes of others, which means I mustn't look through the knowledge which others have given me. through the experiences of others. Now wait a bit slowly. Am I different from the others? There is a Dr. Skinner, whatever the person's name, psychologist. He says all life, there is no such thing in life as freedom and dignity. Only we must be conditioned, right? Forever and ever, amen. Better and better. Now, I'll read it, and I say, but how true this is. I accept it, right? I saw him on television in London, and somebody asked him, "Sir, you're very authoritarian in asserting all this." He said, "I am." And somebody said, "Oh, well, that's very simple then. If you're authoritarian, we can't enter into that field." Follow? And that was the end of that argument. So, first thing is, I want to find out about myself, what I am. And I say I must not look through the eyes of others, right? Then what is the eyes that I have which is so different from the others? Right? Are my eyes different from Dr. So-and-so or etc.? Right? Go on, sir. Work it out. Are my eyes different? Or I think they are different. Or do I say, yes, I am like the rest of them, right? They are conditioned in one way and I am conditioned in another. No?
But you left out one possibility. You may or may not be the same as others.
You may
or may not be.
What's that?
The same as the other person.
No. I am the result of all of the world. I am the world.
You are, so far as you are concerned.
I am the world. The world is sorrow, misery, misfortune, accident, unhappiness, strife, conceit, vanity. You follow? Pour all that into me and I am that. And I say to myself, I must understand myself through my own eyes. My eyes are the world's eyes. No? So, what?
It's the other way around.
Huh?
It's the other way around.
Which is that?
The world's eyes are your eyes because of the way you look at them.
The world's eyes are my eyes.
It's not your eyes or the world's eyes, it's the other way around.
Yes,
Everything
that's what
you
we have.
look at.
My eyes are the same as the world's eyes.
No, the world's eyes are the same as your eyes. It's the other way around. No, it's not.
Let's understand her, sir. The world's eyes are my eyes, is it? Huh?
Because of the way you think of them. You make the world's eyes your eyes.
The world's eyes are my eyes. Aren't we saying the same thing?
No.
Now let's find out why. No. World's eyes are my eyes. And I'm saying my eyes are the world's eyes. What's the difference? Huh?
She may be saying it depends on you. Whether or not you will let the world's eyes be yours.
So, I am the world. The world of the country in which I was born, the tradition in which I was raised, the knowledge which was transmitted to me through tradition, and so on, which is you, which is the world. Your eyes are my eyes.
Then why do we have so much trouble understanding each other?
Because we're coming to that. Because I think my eyes are different. I have different symbols, different images, different hopes, which are, each person has that idea of different hope, different eyes, different knowledge, different...
Maybe I can only be a product of the world insofar as I've appropriated the world, and maybe I can only appropriate the world insofar as I appropriate it in my own way.
Yes, sir. But look, sir, I am concerned with understanding myself. I must come back to that. And I say I must look at myself. Is it possible to look at myself without the world's judgment, right? The world's analytical eyes, the world's saying this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong, you must do this, you must not. Huh?
Well, it seems to me that if your self is predicated upon your experience with the world, you have if your eyes are the world, then you have an equivalent. So you have to discard both of them, either the world, and if you discard the world, you're going to discard the self.
That's all. That's just, up to now, that's just words. If I discard the world, I'm discarding myself. Therefore, there is nothing to learn.
Well,
even I throw myself out, where did they learn?
But then there might be something under that.
We come to, before, you see, I can only come to that if I really put myself out. Not commit suicide, you understand what I mean?
Are you saying, for example, that...
Vivaan?
Are you saying, for example, that in order to attempt to know yourself, to begin the steps of knowing oneself, that it's really tantamount to the conflict then of dependency? If I am dependent on another person, on another object, or what have you, and that makes me different, therefore I am afraid.
So you are coming to a conclusion. You are coming to a conclusion. I am just, please, madam, do me. Vipin?
I just was asking questions.
I see how important it is that I must know myself. Myself is the world multiplied by millions, billions. Now, how am I to learn, to watch, learn, observe without any judgment? Right? Then I can only see. Right? Right, sir? Please proceed a little bit with me. We'll find out what lies below when I discard everything. Can I look at myself? Is it possible to look at myself without any judgment?
No.
Why do you say no? Be simple, son. Be slowly, go step by step. Why do you say no?
I would say that the self in which you're looking at implies some sort of reflective process. And the elements within that reflective process are acquired by the world. And so you're looking at yourself through the elements that are acquired through the world. So it seems as if these elements are part of the world, and I feel that the self is also acquired from the world. So both the world and both the self are acquired through the same processes, or are of the same elements.
Yes, sir. Now, after stating that, I'm asking you, where are you? When you say, I want to see myself, where are you at the end of that statement? Where are you in your understanding of yourself?
You're in a tautology.
What's that?
Well, you're into a, you have two things which are the same. You're in a circle.
That's what we said, sir. World is me and the me is the world. Be simple, my darlings. Now I want to find out, can I look without the eyes of the world? Which means without my prejudice. Right, sir?
He's saying, sir, that the eyes of the world are all there is. And if you look without that, there's nothing left which can...
We're going to find out.
This is what he's saying, I think.
We're going to find out whether... I want to find out what lies below this mess, which is part of me. So I must first there must be clearance of the mess. Right? Whether it's world or me or the world doesn't matter. There is a mess of which I am. Now, can that mess be cleared? Put it as in different ways, it doesn't matter. Can that mess which is me, which is in me, be washed away?
I think it can be non-operative for periods of time.
I don't want periods. One day it works, the next day for weeks and weeks and weeks it doesn't wash out. No, I want to wash it out. So is that? Let's go into it. So please, your stick. If this interests you, if something else, we'll discuss that equally. I want to find out if this entity with its form, name, etc., can be washed clean so that there is no mess, right? That's all. Put it 10 different ways. It is the same thing. That mess is the world, and the world is this mess. There is no division. Now, after stating that clearly, what do? I see the truth. You follow, sir? Not just verbal theory. I see the truth of it. That the mess is me and the mess is the world. The two are one. I don't say the world and me. It's one mess of which I am part. Right? Right, sir?
I don't see how you got there, and if I do, I'm not sure I agree with it.
Good.
I
How I got there? I'll make it clear. For myself, good is. I'm born in Catholic country, in Italy, in Rome, where the church is very strong, where Catholicism has been practiced verbally as well as superficially for 2,000 years. And that world, the Catholic education, upbringing, has shaped my mind, right? I'm a Catholic, with my belief in Jesus. No. Now, I want, he here that you must look at yourself, right? He says, why should I look at myself? Because I don't believe. I am God. You follow? So he's so totally conditioned, he won't even consider looking at himself. But a man who is already little broken, says, what is this self? I want to inquire. Right? Why should I look at myself? You say, why am I? What is so important that I must know myself? To know I say it's important because if you know yourself, you know the world. If you know yourself, you will be free or understand the conflict between you and the world, and the conflict in yourself. Right, sir?
That's a premise.
Huh?
That's
No,
a premise.
no, it's not a premise.
No. If
No.
you understand yourself, you will understand the world.
No, I see the truth of it. I see the truth that in understanding what I am, I understand my relationship with others.
Doesn't that assume that you understand others as well?
Oh no! Because the others may have their own difficulties, their own, follow?
Will that have an effect
Slightly
on the
different.
relationship? Would you say that you would understand, if you know yourself, you will understand your relationship with others?
My relationship with others.
Well, okay. I don't want to quibble over
No,
terms.
no,
but,
I understand. We don't want quibble, but I live in conflict with my neighbor, with my wife, with my children, with my world. And that part of this conflict, I say, why does it exist? I want to understand that. That's all.
It's not part of the conflict due to the...
Wait. I want to understand the conflict. Now I'm going to find out why it exists, right? Not start with a premise. Why does it exist? I see why it exists superficially, right? Nations, politicians, religious divisions, superficially, there is conflict because division, right? Now, I say, by Joe, is there a division in me? Is there a contradiction in me? I know it exists in the world. Is there in me a contradiction? Right? There is. I said, all right. Why does it exist? Now it goes slowly, please. Why does it exist? Is it? Now, you say it exists. How do you know it exists?
Well,
how do you know you exist in conflict?
On one level, I can feel the discordance. On another level, I can intellectualize the discordance.
So, what does that mean?
Right there's a conflict.
What does that mean? Go on, sir. What does it mean? Go into it a little more. Don't.
Well, it seems as if you have a self which is a function of the world, which was acquired through your action with the world. And also seems as if there's a self, or to use a term, a consciousness, which is different from that which was created by your interaction with the world.
That is how you are saying. If I'm not saying you are saying. You exist in conflict. I say, how do you perceive that conflict? Be simple. How do you know, how are you aware that there is conflict? How do you know?
Because I feel it.
Wait. Go slowly. What do you mean by that? Be simple with me, sir. No, be very simple.
I'm able to feel that this consciousness or this certain feelings within me seem to be very different than the self that has been created by my social situation. So I am able to see how different the two are, that one seems to be completely different than the other. So
Is it? I'm not sure. I'm not at all. I'm not saying it is or it's not. I'm not sure.
So, in myself, I observe myself as lots of selves, fragmented selves that argue with each other.
Yes.
And
the world is fragmented. Am I also fragmented? I'm not comparing myself with the world. I see I'm fragmented. Contradiction means fragmentation. Conscious, unconscious is fragmentation. Thinking one thing, doing another, saying another. Contradiction. So I live in contradiction. I am in conflict. That is conflict. Now, wait. My question is, how do I look at it? How do I see this conflict. You understand what I mean?
Yes, I do. And I'd say how I look at it is one voice arises and the other voice arises, and they start arguing, and then I become aware that they're arguing, and something else happens.
Yeah. He said just now, I feel it.
I see it as desires.
Opposing
more
desires.
Desires, both of which can't be satisfied. That's how I.
So, two contradictory desires create conflict. I'm asking you, how are you aware that it is conflict?
Feel tension.
Well, you can almost say that it might not even be a conflict. It might be that the self that is created through your social interaction may not work for you anymore.
Look, sir, I have two desires, opposing desires. Wanting to go out and look at the lovely sun, day, and sitting here and listen to you. I have two opposing desires. What happens?
Pain.
But wait, look at it, take a little, what happens in me? These two opposing desires, contradictory desires, what takes place?
You make a choice.
No, before you make a choice, please, what takes place when you have these two opposing desires, wanting to go out and wanting to stay in?
Division.
Frustration of energy.
Confusion.
Division. Separation.
It shows you are not aware of it. So you are verbalizing. I want looks. I really would like to go out. Instead of sitting, I say what, and I see what takes place. Huh? What takes place?
Do both things at the same time? I mean, isn't the conflict part of enjoyment? The more conflict there is, the more things we actually do inside our head. Maybe that more of those dark corners you're talking about.
My point is, that these two opposing desires have to choose, haven't I? Or do I say, no, I don't have any opposing desires. Either I choose, say I prefer to stay here, and I'll go out later in the evening. Besides, it's too hot now. So I'll go out later in the evening. So I choose.
Don't you? You're out there now too.
And then, actually, opposing desires. The desire to go out, the desire to stay in. And equally strong, you follow? In that state, the mind says, choose, I choose to stay. No?
No, I don't see that you have to.
And I don't have to.
No, I mean I don't see that you have made that choice because of you're here and we're here, but we're also out there in another way at the same time, aren't we?
No.
And also at home and in the past and in the future.
Sir, actually, for this morning, I'm saying, I want to go out, and also I want to stay in. Of course, taken as in the large context, I am at my, you follow, various places because that's the past. That's how I exist now. Here I am. I have to choose, and I say I better stay indoors and listen to this chapter talking about all this, right? And I say to myself, why do I choose? Why should I choose? Conflict is that, isn't it? When I have to choose between that and that, equally strong desires, choice then becomes conflict.
Can it not also be a freedom?
What? How?
Because once you've made the choice...
You have to make a choice. Moment I make a choice, I have decided not to be in conflict.
Yes.
Therefore, conflict ended.
Yes.
Through choice.
Through choice.
Which means what?
That you are free.
not like you resolve the conflict.
If you understand if you've got a choice, then you can make a choice. You've got to have the alternatives within your own life.
Which means also, sir, doesn't it? Where there is choice, there must be conflict. That's all my point.
Why would I have to have a desire to begin with?
Why? Because it's a lovely morning, beautifully clear day, and I've been living in a fog of Los Angeles, and come up here and look at this marvelous sky and blue. I say marvelous, I like to go out. But very simple. And also, I would like to come and go into this. I've got it, there it is. I like to be peaceful, quiet, but I'm tearing, ambitious, competitive, and I'm violent. This goes on. Doesn't matter whether it's going out or coming in. It's very simple. So the question is, where there is choice, there must be conflict.
I don't see why. I really don't see why. I mean, it seems to me that...
Sir, look, just look. You know the road to Ojai. There's no choice.
There are two different roads.
Maybe. But you know, you will take the longer road or the shorter road. But there is no conflict.
Right.
Where conflict exists, when there is contradiction, when there is a choice between this and that. And we live that way, you follow? There is the conscious desires and the unconscious desires. And there's a battle going on all the time.
It seems just inherent in the nature of life, though.
I mean, you say that's the nature of living. I say that's not the nature of way of living. That's absurd.
Well, take for instance your conflict of wanting to be outside and wanting to be here. That's the nature of your life, right now.
No. I took that as an example. I'm not in conflict with wanting to go out, wanting to stay.
Fun. Say one has responsibilities.
So just we'll go into this. We'll go into that afterwards. Just see the truth of it, the fact of it. You understand? That where there is opposing desires, there is conflict. Then out of that conflict I choose. There is choice. And therefore choice implies contradiction. Choice implies conflict. Choice forces me to say, this I will choose. So this is simple now. So my life is based on choice. I'm always doing that. No? No?
Sometimes.
When don't you choose?
When you don't have desires.
Huh?
If you don't have two desires.
Which means what?
You don't care.
Take those two roads. One goes shorter, one is longer. You know very well, you can take both, it doesn't matter. If you will take the shortest because if you're in a hurry, you take the longest because there is no problem there. And you say, there is no problem because I see the two roads very clearly. Right? The two paths are very clear. There is no choice. So you are saying, when there is clarity, there is no choice.
When you don't care.
And then clarity. I don't care whether I take that road or that road because it's not important. But I get confused because I have to choose. And choice exists because I don't know. But if there is clarity, as these two roads, there is no choice. There is only action. To me, there was no choice whether stay in or go outside. So to understand myself, there must be clarity. Right? Clarity cannot exist if I choose what I see. Good, bad. If I choose according to my motive. And I want to see myself totally. And what lies beyond that?
It seems to me, though, that even though I see myself very clearly, that doesn't necessarily mean that I won't have to choose. Because
I have to choose. Just a minute. I have to choose between this pair of trousers and another pair of trousers. Right? Between this cloth and that cloth. I have to choose whether I go to London tomorrow or not. You understand? There's certain level of choice there, it must exist. Now, then where else do we exercise choice?
Well, for example, my parents may have wanted me to become something, and my teacher may have wanted me
my parents wanted
to become
me to become an engineer, and I want to be what? I want just to do nothing. What am I to do?
So there's a conflict, even though I see it.
And no, wait a minute, so good. Why should there be conflict? My parents want me to be an engineer, or a scientist, or a businessman, and I don't want to be. Where is there a choice? While I'm young, baby child, I say either revolt and run away, as is happening, or I acquiesce, because I'm frightened to go out by myself, you follow? And face the world and face the music, and I don't know how to do it. So I say, all right, Papa, father, dad, mummy, it's all right, I'll accept it. That builds up in me a tremendous resentment, doesn't it? Which I'm going to let out later on my poor wife or children, or throw a bomb.
It's still disappointing.
It's a follow it right through. So, well, where does choice exist at all? Why have we made choice such an important thing?
We're exposed to a variety of conditionings, and they may conflict, they may be different, they may demand different things of us, and we don't know their importance. Someone has told us the one
So,
thing is important.
is there a choice if you see something very clearly?
I think in order to have clarity, which would then breed action, you would have to be operating on some sort of model which is absolute.
And then you're starting with a theory. I know that. I'm just asking. I see the truth that conflict exists because of contradiction. Where there is contradiction, I must choose. And that makes me do all kinds of things, you follow? At the end of it, I'm worse off than before. So I say to myself, why should I choose at all? Is there an action which comes with clarity, not through choice? Clarity, as those two roads. Wait, go slowly. Is there clarity?
When I really care about something, I seem clear.
Not when. Then we are discussing theory. Are you, do you...
You're talking about intelligence, aren't you?
I'm not going to use words. I say clarity, good enough.
Okay, clarity. I'll use clarity too, but it seems to me you're saying when you look very clearly that there is an action in that.
Therefore, my concern now is I want to understand myself. I'm coming back. And to understand anything, I must have clarity. To look clearly, without any choice.
Does this clarity come from removing all that?
We're going to find out. Dolcemente. I see this truth, this fact, that where there is choice, there must be conflict. And that conflict has no clarity. Conflict cannot bring clarity, full stop. I see that as clearly as I see that record, that tape recorder. Do you? Huh? That's the truth. You follow? Nobody can take that away. So, now with that clarity, which I have understood, which is the fact, I say now, can I look at myself with that clarity? As clear as the tape recorder, without any distortion. Distortion means choice, right?
I think if you were to look at yourself with that clarity, you could not be operating within the self that has been. It's a premise. I don't know anything. First, I only know I must look at myself with clarity. I've seen that. Then I say, now how? Clarity. Right? Then what is, if the mind is clear, what is there to look at? That's what I'm going to do.
Is that clarity something that's unique to you? In other words, can you say, I'm clear, and someone else says, well, you're just crazy?
That I can't help.
So this clarity that you're talking about depends on nobody else?
No.
Nothing else?
No, it's not a personal experience. Personal experience is a terrible thing, for me at least. When we are talking of the world and me is the world and the world is me. And I want to understand the me, which is the world. And I have to understand myself, and therefore, you or anybody, one must be clear, right? That's all. It's not, that clarity is not my personal clarity. Clarity for you, for me, for anybody.
Then it has to be agreed upon.
No. It's not a question of agreement. It's a question of investigating together, looking together, sharing together, and seeing what it is. If you refuse and I see it clearly, I can't help it. But we are both of us walking on the same road with the same speed, with the same intensity, with the same intention to look. If you are not, I can't help it. It's not my personal look. You say, no, sorry, I'm tired, I want to stop. I say, all right, stop. But I'll also wait and let's move together again.
You see that where there is choice, there is conflict, and you see that with clarity.
That's a fact, isn't it?
Yes, no.
That's a fact, isn't it?
Yes.
That's all. That's a fact, as factual as the piano. That's here.
I know.
Then what?
Then do you see, this may sound like a verbal question, but I don't mean it that way. Do you see the clarity with clarity too?
There is only clarity. I don't see clarity. There is only clarity. Because it's like looking through clear glass. There is no distortion. And therefore no choice. Then when you see, clearly you act.
Yeah. Is it clear that there's no distortion?
Therefore I'll have to find out. You follow? I have to look into it, say, what is distortion? What makes the mind distort things?
It seems to me you're saying that in order to have clarity, conflict must be ended. But
no, I don't say that. I've gone into step by step. You.
I missed.
I don't say you must have clarity. I say, look, where there is contradiction, there must be conflict. That's true. That's the truth, isn't it? That's a fact. And out of that conflict, I choose. And that leads to further choice, further conflict. Right? Do you see the truth of that? That conflict means choice, and therefore more conflict. That's all. Therefore, the seeing of it is clarity. So look, I saw very, very clearly, about 40, 50 years ago, that religious organizations of any kind, of which I was one of the head of one, is wrong. You follow wrong. And I said it's wrong, finished. I didn't argue. I didn't say, well, how long shall we go on like this until I get all the money I could? Or you follow? I said, no, the whole thing is wrong. Finished. That is to see clearly. If I didn't see clearly, then there would be choice. You follow? Should I give it up? Should I not? Because I'm the head, I'm responsible for all these people. And how shall I earn my livelihood? What will happen to me? Who is going to look after me?
But then how does that clarity come about?
How did that clarity come about? Right? Because I didn't want a thing. I didn't want to be the head or not the head. You follow? I didn't care. I really didn't care what happened to me. Right? Now, are you as clear as that? Not at one level and dark at another level. Clear. So with that clarity, I'm going to look at myself. I'm greedy. Right? Greedy for knowledge, greedy for sex, greedy for position, greedy, envious for a dozen things. I'm envious. It's time to stop. Right? 4 minutes more. Because 12:30 we stop. Now can I look at that greed, envy, clearly? Both the expression of it outwardly, how this greed, envy arises in me, you follow? To look at this whole phenomenon of envy clearly. Not my envy, you understand? Which is you knew, which is in me, which is in Nixon, which is envy, but this exists. So it is a universal problem, a human problem, and being a human, can I look at this thing completely clearly? Without choice. So I'll keep greed, I like envy of certain kind, I will give her a free.
Does this clarity that you're talking about...
Not mine.
Well, just clarity in general. Do you think it assumes no longer any sort of involvement with the world?
We're going to find out, sir. I am involved with the world. This is the world.
Yeah, but you're not using the assumptions of the world for this clarity.
Why should it? Because they're... I say, for instance, the world says you must belong to religious groups. Right? You must believe in God, or not believe in God, like the communists. Or you must be Krishna conscious, or whatever it is. You follow? Or, all that thing that goes on. I say, how silly all that is. Absurd, has no meaning. Which means I see clearly the whole of that. And therefore I am out. Not intellectually, emotionally. Isn't
that transparency, really? If I'm transparent, then the world is all right, everything's all right.
What's that?
If I'm transparent, that's clarity in itself.
Yeah.
If we could all be transparent.
Be, not if. So, can I look at myself, my greed, my fear, clearly?
Yes, because you're probably no longer in your greed or fear when you're transparent.
Not, sir, do it, sir. Otherwise, what should sit here all the morning for an hour and a half and talk theoretically? There's no point. If I say, look, I'm afraid of what people say, doesn't matter. I'm afraid of death, of losing this or that, dependent. So, am I frightened? All right, I am. Just look at it. Without any distortion. You follow? Distortion takes place when thought comes in. Right? Shall we go on tomorrow like this? Huh? Or something different?